So I think I'm not going to talk a lot, but I just wanted to go over, because I am starting to fertilize the plants, what kind of fertilizer I use, what the numbers on the bottles mean, where I got the fertilizer, and talk about over fertilizing, which happens a lot, and chemical fertilizers, which can be pretty damaging. So the fertilizer I'm using, I got at Morrison's Feed Bag in town. I did go to Aubuchon's Hardware first, and they didn't have anything that I wanted there. They had an entire aisle for like Raid and Miracle Grow and a lot of chemical stuff, and all I wanted was like this bottle of Fox Farm, and they've had it before. They had it last year, but they didn't have it this year. So then I went to Morrison's, and of course they had it. So what I got, and I've never used this before. I've used Fox Farm before, but I've never used this kind. And it's called Fox Farm Soil and Fertilizer Company Bush Doctor Microbe Brew Plant Food with Microbes, and has the numbers. The first number is the highest on this bottle, and that is the nitrogen. And then the second number is phosphorus, and the third is potassium. So nitrogen is what keeps the plants green. It normally comes from animal waste. And I don't have, compost or animal waste that I'm adding to the soil in my house, because there's just starter plants, but the plants are getting big. They're not, I wouldn't call them seedlings anymore. I would call them plants. And then the second number is the phosphorus, and that is for flowers and buds. When you're sort of, the plant is big enough and you're like, okay, I'm ready for flowers, then you want to switch to a fertilizer that this number is the highest number. And then the third number is potassium, which is for overall health and growth. And I'm not super interested in having them grow very fast right now because they're still in pots. But I do want them to green up a little bit. So I'm using this one with the nitrogen. And then this is not a chemical fertilizer. So the main ingredients in this are earthworm castings, bat guano, which is bat poop, seabird guano, and then manganese sulfate, zinc sulfate, soy protein, hydrolysate sulfate of potash, magnesia, rock phosphate, molasses, and kelp, which is seaweed. So a lot of those, there are some minerals in there, and then, but it's mostly poop, and then molasses and seaweed. And then on the back, it also has the mycorrhizae content, and then the bacterial content, which is like a lot. Like, look at all that. Like, this is all the good bacteria, and this is all the mycorrhizae or mycorrhizae. I always say that wrong. I don't know if you can see, if it will focus it. Maybe if I go like this. Will it do it if I go like that? Sort of. So that's a lot. And you only need, this bottle was $17.99, and you only need, like the instructions say, 2 teaspoons every 2 weeks. I'm just fertilizing and that's 2 teaspoons per gallon every 2 weeks. And I don't have a gallon container. I think my watering can might be half a gallon. I don't think it's a full gallon. So I'm doing like half a capful every, like, once a week or once every 2 weeks. And that's all I need. And this whole bottle will last me all season. So that's that. Chemical fertilizers, I don't have a lot of experience with, but you can buy, like, I usually use ProMix for all my plants. One time I did go to, I think it was Home Depot, and I bought this bag of yellow potting mix, and the bag was yellow, and it was a big bag, and it was potting mix. And I had a ton of tomato plants. I think I planted over 100 tomato plants that year, and they were all like so healthy and looked so good. And then I potted them up in this stuff, and the chemicals, like as soon as you open the bag, you could smell the chemicals. Like you can smell them. And then I potted them up and they all died from the chemical fertilizers. So you have to be careful, and a lot of people over fertilize their plants. So the best thing to do, if you're inside and you're not adding organic matter or poop to your plants, then you can get a liquid fertilizer like this that has that stuff in it. And it doesn't smell terrible, and you're only using a tiny bit, and you're diluting it with your water. So you add it to the water when you water. And then but the best thing to do if you're outdoors, once you get outdoors, you can do a soil test. I think you can do it through the UVM Master Gardener's extension. I have the link, and I'll probably try to put it below. But you just scoop a little bit of soil out and mail it in, and they'll give you a whole, I think it's like a multi-page printout, and tell you what your levels are, what your mineral levels are, what your potassium, phosphorus, and nitrogen levels are. And then it'll give you your recommendation, like what you need to add in order to amend your soil. If your soil's terrible, then like really bad, and you know it's really bad, like it's just all sand or all clay, then you can just add as much organic matter as you can get your hands on. And that's pretty much it. Like I buy a little bit of compost every year, and I put a thin layer on top because I feel like my soil's pretty good. There's also like a worm count, like if you scoop a shovel out, and the number of worms in your shovel full of dirt or soil will give you a good indicator of how healthy your soil is. Another thing is, a lot of people use that black, I hate it, the landscaping fabric. Instead of using that, I use cardboard or a brown paper, the brown paper bags, to keep weeds down in certain areas, just to make it easier. Or I'll put it under the mulch. If I put mulch down, I'll put that stuff under it to help keep weeds down longer, but that will also feed the worms and decompose, and help the quality of the soil much more so than the landscape fabric. And then I guess they make mulch out of plastic, which I would never. I don't know why they would ever do that, but they do it. So yeah, so that's it. So that's what I used, and I got it at Morrison's. Every time I go to Morrison's, I'm like, they have such good stuff. They have always exactly what I'm looking for. So I think that's it for today, and I'll put a link to that stuff in the bottom, and then that's it. And then so I'm going to work on potting stuff up and building a chicken coop. And then I haven't gotten any news from the Flow Hive company yet about the hybrid hive, so I'm pretty sure they're still sold out. And that's it. So I'll see you next week. Okay, bye. Okay, so here's our green zebra tomatoes. That's one whole tray. And then here's some cosmos I planted just 2 days ago, so they're not up yet. All of the orange cells are the Bright Lights cosmos, and then the white seashell cosmos are from Save Seed. Bright Lights and white seashell are all Save Seed. And then apricota is a new one. And then apricot lemonade. I had some of those left, so I just planted those. And then down here is the violet sparkle peppers. And I just want to point out, like, my plants look a little bit yellowy, but the lights that I bought are yellow. So if you pull them out, they look a little bit better, but the lights make them look a little bit yellowier than they are. And then here's the giant rose Superbissima petunias. And then this one has like a little leaf. It's just a different color. I don't know why. I don't know if that's normal or if there's something wrong with it. And then over here are the Black Magic Cosmos. I ordered one packet from Baker Creek, and the packet came with 5 seeds. So I germinated them on paper towel because I wanted to make sure I got something and I just wanted to see if they would germinate. And 3 of them germinated. What are you doing? Are you getting under my robe? Oh my gosh. So 3 of them germinated. And so I put them in these pots. Here's some of the lemon basil that's like overgrown. It's starting not to do so well. And then some dahlias I had, and I pinched those. I don't know if that's a viola or what that is. Maybe. We might get one. And then some basil, the sweet Italian basil that needs to be potted up. And then all of this lovely purple basil. And then down here's Archer. And the onions, I just gave those a haircut so they look nice and neat. The black hollyhocks, those need to be potted up definitely. And then they also could use some fertilizer. Here's some of the sweet Italian basil that I already potted up in those plastic compostable cups. And then these 2 butternut squash plants. The spotted bee balm, which I'll probably just divide when I put it outside. The bee balm that's outside is actually this size already, which is crazy. And then here's all the peppers, banana peppers. Oops. Banana, Marsoni Red, Craig's Grande, and Manganji. And then down here are all of the dahlias I planted. Oops. Archer. Some of them look really good. I pinched them way back a second time because they were way too tall. So I pinched them once, and then out of the 2 branches that came out, I pinched them a second time. This one has like a little bit of that leaf curl. I'm not sure why. And then, but like this one looks really good. So you can kind of see where I pinched it a second time. And this one is curling a tiny bit, but it's nice and sturdy and it's got lots of branches. I think it's going to be okay. So one of the raised beds outside will probably be just for these, just to see how they do. And then over here is more lemon basil and more lemon basil. All that lemon basil I potted up into the plastic cups after the last video. And then I already started potting up some tomatoes. So these are the pink Ozark tomatoes. What happened to the video? Oh. And then these are all the tomatoes that need to be potted up. Those are the some more pink Ozarks on the left, and then the purple Cherokee F1 mixed with whatever else was in my garden last year. And these ones, those really need to be potted up. And then up here is all of the cabbage and Brussels sprouts. And those are looking good. And the cabbage, actually both of them, they might have some new leaves, or that first set of true leaves. Yeah, they have those. Those look really good. So that's exciting. And then over here's all the calendula. What do I have? Let's see. I can't even read the things. Snow Princess, Pink Surprise, and then Pacific Beauty is all from that seed. And then here's some heirloom Brandywine yellow tomatoes and black cherry. You can see the height difference between, look at that, between the Brandywine and the cherry. And the leaf, even the leaf size and shape is a little bit different. And then down here are some new things I planted a couple days ago when I planted the same time I planted the cosmos. The queen lime blush zinnias, queen lime zinnias. And then I was just trying to get rid of some seeds. So Fuji blue and fairy snow, those are balloon flowers, which I think are perennials where we live. Red spike amaranth, some straw flower, bouquet dill, borage, which is supposed to be self-seeding, so we'll see, because I had a lot of it last year. And then eucalyptus, celosia, and what does this say? salmon amore salvia, or salvia amore salmon is the color. And then these are all of the zinnias that I planted. A lot of this is saved seed, or it's the California Giants or the cactus ones, because I like the big zinnias. And then these are getting 4 leaves now, so those look good. And then down here is the tree of enchantment, which needs a new pot. It's wilting. It needs water like every other day because the pot is too small and it keeps wilting. Here's the daylily, which has one tiny bud left, but also all this foliage is new, so it might send up another stem and another set of buds. I'm not sure. More lemon basil. The Thanksgiving cactus, that has some new stuff on it. New leaves. All the pink leaves are new. And let's see. The aloe plant, George keeps yanking it out of the pot. Poor thing. And then the split leaf monstera. The money tree, George yanked on that too. And then it'll be fine. And then here's our baby chicks. Can you go talk to George, please? We've had them for 1 week yesterday, and they've already, I think, doubled in size. And I think, so the box that we had was too small. We just had them in this one box, and it was too small. So I took another box, and I cut the sides off, and then I taped them together, basically. And I just gave them fresh food and fresh water, and they're doing pretty good. And they they're so funny how they already act like grown-up chickens sometimes. And we did put some enrichment in, which I guess is good for them so they don't get bored and peck each other. So we put in sticks and pine cones and pine needles, and the basil clippings I put in, the lemon basil clippings, and the onion clippings I put in. But yeah. And then I read that you could also put in a mirror, and they like to look at themselves in a mirror, like if you get a little handheld mirror, but I don't have one of those. But I could probably pick one up for not very much, so I might get one. But they like to scratch and peck at the sides of the box. I mean, they're growing super fast. And today, I just got a call from my husband, and he said there's some wood scraps where he works, so we're going to try to get those this afternoon if it's not raining, so I can get started on their chicken coop. And I already have a few pallets, and I was just looking through the house yesterday, and I found stuff to make perches out of, and I found some outdoor exterior spray paint, and just a couple other things. And then I also have an old wooden, almost looks homemade, but it's a twin-sized bed frame. And I was like, oh, it's the perfect size for a roof frame or a wall frame. So I need to get started on that. And then we did have some cedar posts fall down on our property during a storm. And so I could cut those up, and I was going to make a foundation with those. And then we also I've seen a lot of people put linoleum flooring in their chicken coops because it's easy to clean. So yeah, and then we have some roofing. So I'm going to try to gather everything I have and draw it out, and then see what I need and kind of get started on that next week, because we have next week off. And then on the warmer days, probably over spring break, I'll take them outside so they can run around and scratch around outside a little bit and get some fresh air. But yeah, they're doing pretty good. Yep, and they like to poop on their heating thing. I just cleaned that off, and then they also like to jump from that to the top of their waterer. And that's it. And then here's everything if I back up. So I still have to pot up a bunch of tomatoes, a little bit of green basil, and some houseplants. And then the squashes and stuff, I'll start those outdoors, and then on nice days, they'll just live outdoors, and then they'll come in at night. like the squashes and the sunflowers, because those grow pretty fast. Okay, that's it.